Okay, so we are at the last segment of this test paper where we will be working with the solutions of question number 16 to question number 21. Okay, so the first question is saying rationalizing the denominator of a plus square root of 4b over a minus square root of 4b, where a is an integer and b is a prime number. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to do a plus root 4b over a minus root 4b. I want to multiply the numerator and denominator by a plus root 4b. So in the denominator, I'm going to get a square minus square root of 4b squared, and in the numerator I will get a square plus a root 4b plus a root 4b plus root 4b squared. What I've done here is I've actually expanded the brackets using the FOIL method. Now the next step here, if I simplify that, I will get a square plus 2a, and if I take square root of 4b plus 4b over a square minus 4b. Now if I take the 4 square root of 4 outside the brackets, then I will get a square plus 2a times 2 root b plus 4b over a square minus 4b. My final answer, a square plus 4a root b plus 4b over a square minus 4b. Now my next question is going to be, given that y over x, square root of y over x to the power of negative 5 is x over m, y over m, when x is not equals to y. Now if I first write that, if I first apply the negative power, so I will get if I apply the negative power, so it's going to be square root of x over y to the power of 5. Square root of x over y actually means x over y to the power of half to the power of 5. So what I'm getting is x over y to the power of 5 over 2, which eventually gives you x to the power of 5 over 2 over y to the power of 5 over 2. So the value of m is 5 over 2 or 2.5. My next question is a triangle ABC. Calculate the value of x. Give your answer correct to 3 significant figures. Now in this question, I know one side, but I don't know the angle on the other side. I know this angle B, but I don't know this side over here. And I know the side here, but I don't know the angle. So my first task is to find out this missing length. Let's call it y. So if I want to find out the length of y, I have to use the cosine rule. So I will do y squared is equal to 4.1 squared plus 5.3 squared minus 2 times 4.1 times 5.3 times cos 110. So let's see what we get there. I use the calculator. 4.1 squared plus 5.3 squared minus 2 times 4.1 times 5.3 times cos 110 gives me 59.76. Correct to 2 decimal places. So y is square root of 59.76, which will give me 7.73. So that length over there is 7.73 centimeters. Okay. Now we are going to use the sine rule. So I will take this y over sine of b is going to be 5.3 over sine of x. The value of y is 7.73 over sine of 110 degrees is equal to 5.3 over sine of x. Now what we'll do is we'll be doing cross multiplication. So I will get 7.73 times sine x is equal to 5.3 times sine 110 degrees, or sine x is equal to 5.3 times sine of 110 degrees, all of it divided by 7.73. So the value of x will be sine inverse 5.3 times sine 110 over 7.73. So let's work this one out first, see what we get here. So I'm getting here 0.6443. In this case, as I'm rounding it up, it's better to take up to 4 decimal places to get the most accurate answer. So I'm doing x is equal to sine inverse 0.6443. So the value of x comes out to be 40.11. So it says 3 significant figures. We will keep the answer as 40.1 degrees. Question number 18. Here the graph of y is equal to f of x is shown on the grid. On the grid above sketch, the graph of y is equal to f of half x. Now the rule about transformation of graph is if there's something inside the brackets that is going to affect the x-axis, x coordinates in inverse way. So if it's half x, all the x coordinates are going to be doubled. There will be no change in the y coordinates. So let's pick 3 points on the graph. So f of x had minus 1, 0, 1 and minus 4, and 3 and 0. So f of half x, it's going to affect the x coordinates in the inverse way. So instead of halving, they will all be doubled. So I'll get minus 2, 0, 2, 4, and 6, 0. The y coordinates will not change. So I've got minus 2, 0. So the point is going to come here. Then I've got 2 and 4. So that's negative 4. So it's going to be 2 and negative 4 and 6 and 0. So your new graph will look like this. That will be your new graph. Okay, let's move on to the next question. This says write down the value of k. F of x plus k is shown in the grid below. So let's look at the previous graph and let's look at the coordinates, right? So it was minus 1, 0, 1 and minus 4 and 3, 0. Let me write them down here. So f of x was minus 1, 0, 1 and minus 4, and 3 and 0. Again, you see f is plus k. It's inside the brackets. It will affect the x coordinate in the inverse way. That means the 3 coordinates were here. Now they've all moved 1, 2, 3 units to the left. Look, 1, 2, 3 units, 1, 2, 3 units. That means the value of k is 3, because if you add 3, f of x plus 3 within the brackets, that is going to be a translation of the graph 3 units to the left. If it's plus 3, it will go 3 units to the left. If it's minus 3, it will go 3 units to the right. So the value of k is 3. Alright, so that was the transformation of the graph question. Let's look at the next one, functions. Question number 19. G is the function with the domain x greater than or equal to minus 3. G of x is x squared plus 6x. Write down the range of G is G of negative 1. Okay, so the question number 19 is saying g is the function with domain x is greater than or equal to minus 3, such as g of x is x squared plus 6x. Write down the range of g inverse x, inverse function of g. So what we know that the domain of the domain of f of x is the same as the range of f inverse x. So in this case, the range of g inverse 1 is going to be y is greater than or equal to negative 3. Now they are saying express the inverse function g inverse 1 in the form of g inverse 1 x So what we need to do, we are going to first write down y is equal to x squared plus 6x. Okay, so now I'm going to substitute, change the y's into x and x's into y. So I'm going to write x is equal to y squared plus 6y, and I want to make it the subject. But before doing that, I'm going to do one more thing. This is a quadratic function, so I'm first going to write it in the form of a completed square. So if I complete the square of x squared plus 6x, I will get x plus 3 all squared minus 9. So now I'm going to substitute the x's and the y's. So I'm going to write y, so x is equal to y plus 3 all squared minus 9. Now I'm going to make y the subject of the formula. So I'm going to write down y plus 3 all squared is equal to x plus 9, or y plus 3 is equal to square root of x plus 9, or y is equal to square root of x plus 9 minus 3. So g inverse x is square root of x plus 9 minus 3, or you can write it as minus 3 plus square root of x plus 9. So this is the tricky part, that if your function is a quadratic one, sometimes you have to do completing the square to find out the inverse function. Question number 20. So a bowl contains n pieces of fruit. One of these 4 are oranges and the rest are apples. 2 pieces of fruit are going to be taken at random from the bowl. The probability the bowl will then contain n minus 6 apples is 1/3. Work out the value of n showing you're working clearly. So let's say there are n pieces of fruit. 4 are oranges. So oranges, an apple is n minus 4. Okay, so 2 pieces of fruits are going to be taken at random from the bowl. Okay, so first what we are doing is n minus 4 over n. That's the probability of apples taken the first time. Okay, then I'm taking again another one, and that will be because there are n minus 4 apples, right? We are talking about, if I take apples the first time, the probability of taking apples the first time will be n minus 4 over n. The probability of taking a second apple will be n minus 5 over n minus 1, because now there's one fruit less. Now, so if I multiply them together, that means probability of apple and apple, right? Probability of apple, and see what we get. We will get n squared minus 4n minus 5n plus 20 over n squared minus n, which is n squared minus 9n plus 20 over n squared minus n. Now this calculation I'm doing on the basis of, here that I'm taking, both the time I'm taking an apple. Now, why am I doing this? Because it says the probability that the bowl will contain n minus 6 apples, right? So we already know there are 4 oranges and n minus 4 apples. So in order to keep n minus 6 apples, I need to remove 2 more apples from this. So if I remove 2 more apples, let's say if I remove 2 more apples from n minus 4, then I will have n minus 6 apples. How can I have n minus 6 apples left? That can only happen when I'm taking apple the first time and apple the second time. And the probability is equal to 1 out of 3. Now I'm going to use this information to solve my quadratic equation. So I'm going to do cross multiplication. I will get 3n squared minus 27n plus 60. I've multiplied 3 by n squared minus 9n plus 20 is equal to n squared minus n. So I did cross multiplication here. Okay, so I multiplied here and I multiplied here like this. Now, so I'm bringing everything over to the left side. So 3n squared minus 27n plus 60 minus n squared plus n equals 0. Okay, and then if I simplify, I get 2n squared minus 26n plus 60 equals 0. I can divide everything by 2, so I get n squared minus 13n plus 30 is equal to 0. Now I'm looking for two numbers that multiplied together gives you 30, and when I add together I get negative 13n. It can be negative 3 times negative 10. So I can have n minus 3, n minus 10 equals 0. So I get n minus 3 equals 0, n is equal to 3, or n minus 10 equals 0, n is equal to 10. Now, I cannot have 3 apples there because it says n minus 6. So if the value of n is 3, if there were 3 fruits altogether, you cannot have 4 oranges. So this value is not acceptable. So the number of values, a number of fruits in the basket or bowl is 10. So there were 10 fruits in the bowl, and that is the value of n. Now we go to the last question. My last question is on sequence and series. So it says 2x plus 23, 8x plus 2 and 20x minus 52 are 3 consecutive terms of an arithmetic sequence. Prove that the common difference of the sequence is 12. Okay, so first let's see. Let's find out the difference between these two terms. So I do 8x plus 2 subtract 2x plus 23. That will give you 8x minus 2x is 6x, and 2 minus 23 is negative 21, right? And then we are going to say, assume 6x minus 21 is equal to 12, because we need to prove that the common difference is 12. So 6x is 12 plus 21, which is 33. So x will be 33 divided by 6, 5.5. Now we're going to put the 5.5 into the third term. So x is equal to 5.5. So putting that into the third term, 20x minus 52 is 20 times 5.5 minus 52, which is 110 minus 52, 58. Okay, so the third term, according to this, we got 58. Let's see what are the other terms we are getting. So the first term, the term number 1, if that is term number 1, I'm going to take it as 2 times 5.5 plus 23, which is 11 plus 23, 34. And the second term, 8 times 5.5 plus 2, which is going to be 44 plus 2 is 46. So the three terms that we have got based on the x is equal to 5.5 are 34, then we got 46, and we have got 58. And we can see that the common difference between them is 12, because when you add 12 to 34 you get 46, you add 12 to 46 you get 58. Therefore it is proved that the common difference of the sequence is 12. Alright, so that was all for 2019 paper 1H, and in the next set we'll be doing paper 2H. Till then, keep practicing and good luck to you all.